Hey, we are ready to go. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. 3 o'clock, and it is time to rock. Fast Freddie here from the Youngstown studio in downtown Youngstown, and the podcast is still going. We've been going now for about 3-4 weeks now, maybe 3 weeks. So things, maybe we're heading in the right direction, and it just keeps getting better because my special guest this afternoon is actress, former Playboy cover model, cosplay housewife, all kinds of stuff. My good friend Lisa Neeld. Lisa, good to see you.
Good to see you. It's been forever.
I know.
Oh my gosh, you look amazing.
Oh, so do you. I mean, come on. Well, you're a movie star, though. You know, you're a movie star, so you're supposed to look that way. But anyways, it's been a while, and for people that don't know, we'll bring you up to speed. Back in the day, you landed on the cover of Playboy Hot Housewives, and then you joined up on our radio show, and we started doing a lot of things back in the day.
We did so many fun things.
And from there, man, a lot of crazy stuff has happened for you. And you know, everywhere I go to this day, people still go, "Hey, what's that Lisa Neeld doing? What's she up to?" And I always tell them, I go, "Well, you got to go to her Facebook page. You got to check it out. She's doing all kinds of stuff." Aww. So I mean, there's a lot of people that are wondering what you've been up to that haven't been following you. And I thought, man, we got to get into this and get it going. So, well, here we are. It's a Tuesday, 2 for Tuesday, and good things come in pairs, as we know.
For sure.
So you got your start, you know. Now, how did this whole thing come about when you got on the cover of Playboy's Hot Housewives? How did this whole deal go down?
Well, oh my gosh, it seems so long ago. It was actually 2008 when the first issue came out. And then later in 2009 was when I made the cover. So long story short, for those who may not remember or don't know, I had sent my photos in to Playboy because I had shortly after the photos were done, I had augmented myself.
Right.
So I had sent the photos in because the photographer I had shot them with, which was just to do the photos. He's like, "These are so good. I think you should send these in a Playboy." I was like, "Get the hell out of here." I was 30 years old at the time. I'm like, there's no freaking way they're going to pick a 30-year-old. So long story short, fast forward, I sent them in, kind of didn't really hear anything. And then all of a sudden got the phone call and went to Indianapolis, did the casting test shoot, and still didn't hear anything. Waited like 6 weeks later and then got the call, "Can you come to Chicago like in 2 weeks?" I'm like, yes. Let's go right now. And then I shot, it was 3 magazines total for them, but then I ended up in 4 total.
Oh, that's pretty good. Now here's the cover. I think we got the cover up here. Joe, if you could throw...
There it is.
There it is, boy.
There it is.
So what did you think when you first saw that cover? You had to be flipping out. You had to freak out.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because the editor, she had messaged me and she was like, "I just want you to know that you made the cover." And I was like, "Get the hell out." But I didn't get to see it. Right. So I didn't get to see that until everybody else did when it hit the newsstand. So it was cool.
That was pretty cool. Where did you go buy it when you first heard it came
Niles.
out?
The Niles bookstore. I don't, is that what it's called? Right there by it used to be Condemnation. Now it's something else.
Okay, Niles Book and News.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And it was funny because I had went in there and they didn't even know it was me. And I was like, "So I need all of those. How many you got?" But then it was so cool because actually I had signed some for them to sell, you know, in their store. And then after that, I just kept calling the owner there. I'd be like, "So I made another magazine. Can you get me a bunch?" And he would "Okay, I got some."
Right. And then we picked up on it once the word got out, and then you joined up with us, and boy, we did a lot of fun things. So what made you get the implants to begin with? What made you get them?
Well, I have 2 kids. So at the second child, kind of everything just shifted. And it wasn't as, let's say, perky as it normally would have been, prior to. And so I don't know, I was a little self-conscious of it. Yeah. So I went to see my doctor who's in Beechwood, still my doctor to this day. And I was like, "So I think I want implants." He's like, "Okay." I'm like, "Give me the biggest ones you have." He's like, "Well, here's as big as I'll go," because, you could be like this huge and fall over and look ridiculous, if he's like, so he gave me the largest ones he said he could do.
Well, see, that's a good thing too. I mean, when it comes to breast enhancement, when it comes to tattoos, when it comes to things like that, you should always say, "Give me the biggest one you got."
Go big or go home, right?
Exactly. Now, see, but yours look good. I mean, now there are some, some of these strippers and stuff. I remember the one time we had Busty Hart came to the radio station, and she was 123 triple Z.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, you know what, Joe? If you could find a clip of Busty Hart, I think she was on America's Got Talent at one point. And I mean, these things though were like boulders. And she had 123 triple Z. Busty Hart is her name, and she was smashing beer cans and things. That was her whole act. She had this whole act.
I think I did see. I heard of that. And it's probably the same. And she would like put the cans on here and then just let her.
she would just smash them, crush them, you know. And the one day that she was on the air, there's got to be a video that clip on there. Look, there's one where she's busting a cement block. There she is. She's busting a cement block.
Oh my God! Now mine won't do that.
Those things, they were like they weighed a ton. Okay, if you could break a cement block with it,
that's crazy.
You know, if you could smash a 6-pack of beer with your tits, I mean, now you're talking.
Well, that's talent too.
Yeah, that's why she was on America's Got Talent. There's got to be a video of her on there somewhere.
Oh my God!
See that? Look at that.
That's awesome.
And then one day she comes to the radio station, and she dropped one on my head and knocked me unconscious because it was like they weighed so much. They were probably like 5, 6, 7 pounds, and she dropped it right between my eyes, and boom, I was out. I was out cold. And the next thing you know, Chris Patrick, I come to, and Chris Patrick's like, I hit girls, because she's like, what'd you knock my co-host out for? But I'll tell you what, man, when I got up, it was just like, I was out of it. You know?
I bet, because mine I think weigh only like a pound each, so I can't imagine what.
Well, look at those things, man. I mean, it's massive. Just like
that's like back trouble waiting to.
Oh, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And then when
each their own, though, right?
And then when she did a couple of shows, she was down at what's that place that used to be in downtown Warren? Swingers? Was it Swingers? I think so. Right across from the McDonald's there.
I think
Jimmy, you might know. Jump in there. Was that called Swingers? Swingers. Okay. Jimmy was pretending like he didn't hear what was going on, right?
Swingers. It's called Swingers.
Jimmy's sitting there. Oh, yeah,
I don't
Swingers.
know what you're talking about.
Well, she did a couple shows at Swingers, and she would wear pasties and steel-toed boots.
Okay.
Because she would do things like carry bowling balls.
Wow.
With her cleavage.
Oh my God.
She would do all kinds of crazy stuff. She would carry a beer keg under it and things like that.
That's crazy.
And the funniest one, though, I remember, is she did Swingers, and then she did that Max out in Parkman, on 422 and 88 out there in Amish country. This was the funniest thing because everybody there was Amish. So, you know, if I ever made a movie, this would be a scene in my movie.
Oh my God.
Because there's all these Amishmen out there, all these buggies, the whole place is packed with Amishmen. And there's this woman on stage with pasties and a G-string and steel-toed work boots, like carrying a keg with her tits. It was
oh my God.
It was like the craziest thing. But yeah, you know, but
fun times.
But like I say now, you go that big, you know, you're almost an oddity. You know what I mean? You're an oddity then.
That's different. It's definitely different.
But so now, you know, that opened a lot of doors for you. I'm surprised. I mean, you know, because you've still been going, you know, since 2008.
Yeah, and it's funny because I actually work now more than I did then. If that, you would think it would go opposite, because that was always my fear of like, well, okay, it's great. Playboy happens, did some things here, but eventually it's going to be like, okay, next, you know what I mean? But no, I'm busier now than I ever was.
Oh, I know. Then we started out, we used to do a lot of crazy stuff, bikini bike washes, the bikini motorcycle events.
We should do one. Let's do it right out here.
Yeah, let's go, man. Let's get it started. Well, it's getting a little chilly now, you know. I mean,
we might have to do it next year.
Yeah, we'll put that on the list. Joe's writing that down already.
Write that down.
Bikini. And then you did a little reality show for a while. That was pretty cool.
3 seasons that was on. Yeah. Yep. So that was
and
fun.
I think you had one with a bikini.
A couple.
Bikini.
Yeah. It was, but see, that was a little different because it was everything was really censored. You had to watch, don't do too much of this, too much of that. It's okay to show a bikini, like, real fast of this, but you can't like dwell on it. Cause it's on, and it was on it like in the morning, right before when people are getting ready for work and things. And so we couldn't be too, we pushed the envelope as much as we could.
Now, I remember too that for a while there, you were getting a lot of offers for like all kinds of just crazy stuff. I remember, wasn't there one like with the tickle fights or something?
Oh, I still do all that.
Oh, you still do? Okay, the tickling fetish videos.
Remember the tickling and then the cat fighting?
Oh yeah, that was another.
I actually missed that. I haven't done that in probably a couple of years. That but that was fun because you know me, I'm so competitive, and I love that mat wrestling. Yeah, and then like if you lost, well then they had to tickle you. Okay.
That was some crazy stuff. What other stuff did you do like that? Because I do remember the cat fights and I do remember the tickling thing.
The tickling, the cat fights was always the thing. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the funniest ones. Yawning.
What?
Yeah, I used to. Not used to. I still sometimes get paid to yawn in a video. You just go. That's it. Oh, and mouth stuff. Oh yeah, feet, of course. Yeah,
right. Oh yeah.
Feet thing, but yeah, all kind of crazy.
And people are out there,
they love it.
Really. Well, see, you know what? That's kind of crazy how times have changed, though, now, because now you look back even from 2008, I don't think there's too many magazines out there like there used to be, No,
actually, everything is more, what do you call it? Like through MagCloud and things like that. So almost like self-distribution kind of thing, which is cool because it's giving a lot of people a lot of opportunity that probably, wouldn't have gotten. It's harder in the bigger magazines, So I think it's definitely a plus.
Because I look back in the day. I mean, you had Playboy, but then you also had like We and Penthouse and Hustler. Am I missing any, Larry? Okay, I'm just checking.
But yeah, like those, they were like the big ones, and then that was really it.
Oh yeah.
But now there's so much, which is great though, because now a lot of people get to showcase talent that would have been harder to achieve because unless you went to those areas or sent in pictures and how many stacks of photos do they look through.
Right.
So it's definitely a cool
unless you were in Beaver Hunt and Hustler, then they put anybody in there.
Right.
If you weren't from a trailer park, you weren't getting in.
What is it? Beaver Hunt?
Yeah, in Hustler they used to have, that was like the original amateur thing, where people would send in these amateur pictures, and it was usually some big drunk overweight woman covered with cheap tattoos, and they would have a picture of her in like a teddy or worse,
or worse.
What else they used to have out there? I think, Penthouse, they used to have the letters to Penthouse where people would write in these stories, Dear Penthouse, I never thought this would happen to me, but,
But I answered the door and the UPS man was standing there. And I said, do you have a package? And she said, as a matter of fact, come in.
I think you were the writer for those. Now, see, I always picture the writer as some pervert just sitting here, some old guy, smoking a cigar.
Going in. She said, she said, come in. Yeah.
That's like remember our buddy MTV?
Oh my God,
I still see MTV every once in a while. And he's usually the first one that asks me, hey, what's that Lisa Neeld up to? What's that Lisa Neeld up to?
Oh, bless his heart.
He still has all your autographed magazines and everything.
What a sweetheart.
Oh, yeah.
He's doing good?
He's hanging around.
Good,
I see him. He's usually, if you want to find him, he's usually at the McDonald's on Midlothian.
Oh, is
or
he?
At the car shows, and he's out there.
Well, good. He's done good.
Oh, yeah, you got boobs and puss. Oh,
yeah. Oh, yeah. He would call, like, okay, we got to go. We're moving on. We got to go.
Hey, where's that Lisa Neeld? Oh, what a character. I love the guy.
what a
the MTV,
sweetheart.
the homeless perv. And he'd always, for a while there, we had him doing reviews because there was a guy out at the flea market out in Camel out there. What is that? The Four Winds. And the guy used to sell used dirty books under the counter, you know. And and the guy's name was I think Happy Harold was the guy's name, and the perv would call in every day or whatever and talk about what kind of bargains he got.
Oh my god!
I got a copy of Leg Show and Big Jugs for $0.25 a piece.
Big Jugs, but the only problem with Big Jugs, half of it was written out, so I should have got for a quarter then, because I only got half of a titty. Damn it!
I'll tell
what are you gonna do?
Yeah, the perv though, man, he was one of our characters back in the day. But that was a lot of fun. Now you've also been now here's what you actually had a chance to go to the Playboy Mansion.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
It's wild. Well, I haven't been there since. Oh my gosh, how many years ago? 6. Yeah. Maybe even longer, longer than that. No, at the right when the cover came out, so that was 2009. That was last time I was
what
there.
was that whole scene like?
Well, that the last time I was there, it was completely magical though. It was because it was when the cover had came out, so I had got to take photos with it and so it was more of a special thing for me that particular trip. Yeah. But it was just wild partying.
Did you meet Hef? Did you actually meet Hef?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
what did Hef say to you, or how was he? Did he seem creepy or?
No, he's the sweetest guy ever.
Really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
And unfortunately, when he passed away, but yeah, he was the sweetest ever. And I think a lot of times people think like he's like more. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, I don't know, like there's so many girls around, he doesn't know you're just another blonde, but that's not the case at all. Yeah, he was super sweet. And so was everybody there. I met Kendra.
Oh, when they had the show on, so you met them too, huh?
And then the last time when I was there, I met his wife, Crystal, and the two twins. So when the show had switched over, when it was Kendra and Bridget and Holly, and it switched over to the twins and Crystal, which is his wife, that he ended up marrying, obviously. But so the last time I was there was when I got to meet them. So I got to meet Kendra the first couple of times, and she was there, and then the last time was.
See, I'm a little disappointed. I thought when Hef passed away, he was going to turn the keys over to me.
See, right, exactly. I know, it's bullshit.
I know. I'm sitting there waiting. I'm going, okay, come on, Hef, where's the keys, man? Where's the call?
Yeah.
Every day I started answering phone numbers that I didn't even know, like for weeks after he passed away, just to say, hey, come on, Hef, I'm ready.
Right.
So what is it like there? I mean, they got all kind of swimming pools and big rooms
the grotto,
and fancy things.
The grottos, it looks just like it does on TV. And then he has his own, like, I swear it's like bird, what do you call it? Bird
bath.
No.
Bird sanctuary.
Sanctuary. There you go. And it's awesome. It like all these, you would think like you were at a zoo or something, how magical it was and so taken care of. And it's all right there on the premises and the game room and all of that stuff. It's exactly how it looked.
Was there any famous people there when you were there?
That day, the last time I was there, I think there was a porn star there. I can't remember her name because everybody's making a big deal of it. But I kind of just was like, oh, because I don't know. Yeah. But the last time, but then a couple of other times before, I had met the guy from Back to the Future.
Christopher Reed or Christopher...
Marty, the guy Marty. I have photos with him. Another time, Mini-Me was there.
Oh, that had to be funny.
I have pictures with him. He wasn't... I don't know. He was a little mean at first.
You know what? I kind of got that from him too. I think he was kind of a mean midget. I think he really had some problems. I think he was.
I mean, because me and this other model were like, well, we knew that's Mini-Me, and I love Austin Powers. Like, I just love. So I was like, oh, can we get a photo with you? And he was like, come back, and we're like. come back.
Yeah.
Me and his hot blondes, like, really were like, wait, what? And then so we're like, okay, whatever. And then we do go back a second time. We're like, okay, can we take the picture? He's like, come back again, because he was eating chicken wings, as a matter of fact. I remember what he was eating. And so I was like, okay. I'm like, really? Now this girl that I was, this other model, she was like, well, I'm not asking him a third time. I'm like, yeah, so forget it.
You're
so
lost,
then
mini
as
me.
we were dancing as the night went on, and he came by with, I guess, his bodyguard or whoever, and he's like, do you want the, and I should have been like, no.
Yeah.
But I was like, yes.
Yeah.
And then I do have a picture
Even
with him.
though you're kind of
I was a little mad.
a midget with a bad attitude, we'll still
I was
we'll
a little
get the picture.
upset. I was like, don't be rude, but whatever.
I thought I've heard other stories about him
Being mean.
Yeah.
So I had, so I met him, the Marty McFly. That's why. Oh, and then Chelsea Handler.
Oh, okay.
Handler? Is that how you say? Her producer. He's a shorter guy.
Oh, what the heck's his name? The Mexican guy.
Yes. I cannot think of his name now. But him, because they were there. She wasn't there. Now he was there. I have pictures with him. I'm trying to think throughout the years how many different, but those are like the bigger ones.
Oh, but mini me, you know, all you needed was Gary Coleman and one other midget, and then you would have like the whole set, you know. I guess Gary Coleman was kind of a weird guy too towards the end, you know. I don't know though. It might be tough going through life being like that. You know, I could see why you might have a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah.
You know. Especially if you're in a crowded elevator and you're right with everybody's ass, somebody farts and you're a midget, and you're like, okay, I'm not going in that elevator anymore.
That might be a problem. Maybe not the cleansiest people that you're standing behind.
Yeah. Well, you know, we were talking about Playboy towards the end there. I don't know if it's still out, but then I think either Hef's son or somebody took it over instead of me. And then they changed over to, non-nudity.
Yep.
You know, and it's kind of like, okay, well, why are you buying Playboy if it's...
Yeah. I believe they have switched back again. Okay. I think. Yeah. Don't quote me, because actually I haven't really... You know, it's like kind of...
me either.
Yeah,
everybody just looks online, you know?
Now it's kind of like, well, okay.
But I'll tell you, I did think, though, some of them pictures were kind of hot, though. You know what I mean? They were like kind of sexy done, and the scenes, and, you know, maybe like the top open, and...
Right,
you know, where you'd
more
see,
implied, so that it's like, leave it to the imagination instead of...
MTV, boobs.
You think there's boobs under there? How big are those boobs under there? But yeah, so I think they did switch back though.
Yeah,
I think. I don't quote anybody quote me on it, because I'm not sure, but I think that's what happened.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about this like cosplay stuff you got going on here.
Oh my gosh, that I think I'm actually obsessed with it. Like,
hold on here.
Obsessed.
We got a message here from Jeff. Jeff says that he knew Mini Me, and Mini Me was a dick.
Well, see.
Hey, Terry Casterline is in on the viewing here today. The Lowlight brothers are in the house.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. What's up?
Okay, Dave Childers said you're still hot.
Aw, thank you.
John Simpkins also says hi, Lisa.
Aw, hi.
Lisa Biggs says hi, Lisa.
What's up? Nice name.
Gary Perung is checking us out here today.
Cool.
Yeah, so I guess the consensus of like 4 people was that Mini Me's a dick, or was a dick.
I mean, I'm not saying he was a dick. I'm just saying he
had an attitude.
He had an attitude.
Midgets with attitude.
I mean, really, do you have an attitude over some chicken wings? I guess there were some damn good wings, so maybe. I don't know. But then again, I was like, well, maybe he didn't want to take a picture as he's licking his fingers and shit.
Yeah, well, that could be.
Maybe, right?
Yeah,
maybe.
That could be. But he probably just probably had a problem in general. You know? Gary Markowski checking in. What's up, Gary? We got to get Gary on the show too before too long here. Yeah, our buddy Jerry, a lot of people tuning in here this afternoon, checking us out. But yeah, that was some crazy stuff. What other crazy stuff did you do? And then we'll get into the cosplay thing.
Let's see. What other crazy? Let's go recent, because I'm trying to remember all the things. Recently, so I did this movie. It's called The Easter Holocaust.
Okay.
It's with a killer rabbits.
Oh, no.
I wish, I'll have to bring it to you. You could show the clip. My death was via dildo that came through my mouth.
Oh, no.
Jimmy, was it not the most hilarious? I think it's my new favorite scene I have done. Like,
I wouldn't have thought.
humor-wise, oh my God! It's so this rabbit. He's a killer rabbit,
right.
And he collects in his Easter basket,
right?
Parts of his victims. So my character, she's a prostitute. So to fight him off, she I don't want to ruin it for everybody because it's so hilarious.
Yeah.
But she does whip out this massive toy that's like this freaking big, and so she goes to throw it at him to fight him off.
Yeah.
Well, of course he's gonna grab it, right? Because that's what would happen. And she starts running, and of course my tits are bouncing because I'm running and running. And here comes he throws because he's like the super
Evil
villain, evil with superpowers, and he wings the dildo, and it goes right through the back of my head. It is the hilarious.
So now this is the Easter.
Oh,
this is the killer Easter bunny.
Yes.
The killer Easter bunny, death by dildo.
Yes, it was
right through the back of the head.
Right through. So you see me running, and how they did. And I'm probably gonna. This is a spoiler alert, so now I just ruined it for everybody. But as it's you see it flying at my head, and then it goes, and then next thing you know, you see the front, and it's oh. And the dildo is out. So it penetrated penetrate. She said penetrate. So it goes through her head into the mouth, and that's how she dies.
Oh, wow.
It is the funniest scene.
So when is that movie coming out?
It's out right now.
Oh, it's out right now.
Yeah, we actually were gonna they were gonna show it, but then due to the COVID, it just went straight to DVD. But yeah, Michael Leo Senti, he's the one who directed and produced it. Oh my gosh, it's probably the funnest scene as far as humor that I've done.
All right, let's talk more about movies, then we'll get back to the cosplay housewife. Okay, we got some clips here and some trailers. First one here, Joe, if you could find Skull Forest. Now, Skull Forest, this is four girls are out in the woods. Explain what happens in this one.
This one, so it's they're all rich millionaires. It's like a hunting game, and we're like the prey, and we don't know it though. And we get hunted, and my character, her name is Tori, and she's a cop in the movie, so she knows how to defend herself. But no, she eventually she gets it in the end too.
Gets it in the end.
Yes, she gets it.
She says she gets it in the end. I want to see that one.
Said, I want to see that one when she gets it right in the end. Yeah. But that was actually my first one. No, not my first. My bigger role next to the girl, because I did the girl with Travis Bowen. Remember? I think you know Travis.
Yes.
Yeah, where I was the murderer, but I really didn't have lines. I just was the killing blonde.
Right, I do remember
and
the girl. Here, let's watch the trailer for Skull Forest.
That's my ass right there. That was my ass.
I know. Oh, there's your boobs.
There's your boobs.
You guys ready?
So you're heading out to the forest here.
Right. Yep.
Four girls alone in the woods.
What do you make of all this, Manelli? We lost some good, important individuals today.
Now, where'd you film that at?
This was in Erie.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's your secret?
Now this is where the psychos come in.
My secret is that I never give away my position.
And it's for sports like an animal.
That's Len. He's actually the one who is the director and producer.
And give my position.
That was my ass.
Oh yeah, put that one back. Oh yeah. I mean, you look good in these movies.
Thanks.
You look like a hard ass.
Thanks.
Not shit. So you're a dangerous woman. And that interests me.
So you're like the last one standing.
Second to last. Yeah, I was actually second to last. But yeah, I didn't make it out. Nope, didn't make it out of that one.
So that's Skull Forest. That was a good one. Okay, and then how about, let's see here. Another one you had out there was kind because I was watching them all. Hellcat's Revenge. Now, Hellcat's Revenge is about a female motorcycle group, the club gang that goes on a killing rampage.
Well, the first one, so we actually just finished Hellcats 2 last summer, and it just went to DVD. Now, distribution-wise, it won't go till the spring, but it is on Len's Patreon, so you can't actually see it there. But Hellcats 1... Yeah, I was the biker. I was a major hardcore badass biker chick. And then into the second one, I get framed, but I'm still badass. And it's woman prison movie. But back to the first one.
Okay. Oh, women's prison movies. That. Oh, okay. Now that has it all. Except, you know what? I have a bone to pick with you and people like Farrah Fawcett and Charlie's Angels and all these things. When they had these prison scenes, nobody in prison looks like you. You know. Everybody would think, oh boy, oh it's that hot prison.
That's hot.
Oh yeah, them prisoners. And when you see them, and they all smell like ass, and they're all just method out, and no teeth and everything. It's not like Playboy models and stuff like that in prison.
Gotcha. No.
So that's one fantasy, but I shouldn't talk about that too much. We'll just keep that to ourselves. But I've always had a bone to pick. Like here's Charlie's Angels are framed and they wind up in prison and
they're all hot.
And the other inmates are as hot as they are.
Everybody's just hot.
Right, and then they just have this big fight breaks out and everything. But in real life, it's probably closer to what's that one? Orange is the New Black probably what it's more like. Not like oh, it's Lisa Neeld, Playboy cover model, it's Farrah Fawcett, and they're getting into a prison fight.
And they're fighting. Oh, pull my hair! As she whips hers around and her tits fly up. No, not different.
All right, this is Hellcat's Revenge right here. All right, wait, is that you whooping ass?
No, that's Len.
Oh, that was the guy. Okay. Oh, okay. He kind of looked like Brett Michaels there for a minute.
He does. Yeah.
All
have a resemblance.
This is an action movie.
Yeah, it's really good.
There you are. You put on some brass knuckles. Okay. Yeah, you look good in these. Oh, look at that kicking ass. Uh-oh, pool cue. What did you do with that pool cue?
Good thing he stayed seated. That's all I'm going to say.
Look at you. With them guns and stuff. I mean, you look really good in these movies.
Thanks.
Look at that. Oh, man. You're like
badass.
Yeah, really. You're kind of like a female Arnold Schwarzenegger or something. You're like an action hero. Man. All right. And that one's out, or is it coming out soon?
That one is out. Yeah, that's the first one. So,
Hellcats,
it
man.
is out.
That's crazy.
It's badass to the bone.
And let's see here.
That's
now,
probably, of course, my favorite. Well, Hellcats 2 is my favorite movie.
L. Wilson says hi.
What's up?
Oh, yeah, we got a lot of people joining us here this afternoon. Everybody, those are some good movies. Now, this one here, when I saw the trailer for this one, I could have swore it was our old buddy Butcher that starred in this movie. Homicide Harry. Homicidal Harry.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of, where they're from. Babe, they're PA? That was PA? No. New York.
Oh, okay.
Not New York? I don't even remember. PA, New York? Where we filmed that.
When I saw Homicide Harry, I went, holy shit, that's Butcher. If you guys need a big psychopath that was always
like
trying,
him, so that he resembles him.
He would fit into this perfect. Let's watch Homicidal Harry here.
This was fun. There's lots of blood.
I was gonna say this. Like Butcher.
Really?
Yeah. If you need a disturbed man, look at. I've seen Butcher look like that. I got the guy for you. I'm going to be his talent agent.
Be like, he looks just like him.
So it's at he stops taking his meds.
Yeah.
He throws his meds away.
And then he
And he
starts.
says, "Screw it."
Yep.
Now, this is his bedroom in his house.
In his like a vacant house because he ended up having to leave.
Okay.
I don't want to give too much away, but
he's got hedge
he had
clippers.
to
I don't
leave.
know what he's gonna do.
He's going crazy.
I got the guy for you. If Butcher's checking in, he better get a resume to you. Hey, Big Herb's checking in today. What's up, Big Herb? He looks like he's pissed. This guy's got anger issues.
Little mad here.
I think he's trying to eat a wing, and people are like, "Oh, now there's you, right?"
No, actually, I
it's
was the
not
one
you.
dancing.
Oh, you're dancing
Well, I
in
was
this
a
one.
prostitute in this one too. Well, actually, she was a dancer. No, I correct myself. I was a dancer slash kind of prostitute, maybe. I don't know.
Wow, there's a lot of blood in this movie. Damn.
Yeah, there is a ton. It's very gory. This one for sure. There's
Man.
me.
Oh, there
Yeah.
you are. Oh, naked. Oh, Lisa Neeld naked
There's
in the movie.
lots of blood,
Ooh.
naked, and it was dripping down my freaking boots, not boobs, boots, and it was so cold.
Who's this dude hanging out on the wall that they're chopping up?
Yeah, it looks like he's getting
And this guy looks like he's at a butcher shop. Oh, man, this has to be one of the bloodiest movies I've ever. Oh, man, this guy dumped a bucket of blood on him. I'm sure Lowe's likes that they use your bucket. And there's some body parts just flying out the window.
Oh.
And there he
And
is
off
walking in with a
goes
head.
her head.
Oh, uh-oh.
Yeah, this
I don't
was
even want to know what happens there.
Oh. Very gory.
Homicide Harry. That has to be one of the bloodiest movies I've ever seen. That was
Yeah.
just in the 2-minute clip there.
Bob, the director and the one who, oh my gosh, they actually, I guess it's okay for me to say, but they had a friend that it was a house that they had purchased and they were gonna like tear it down. So they're like, do whatever you want in here. Like, who has permission? Like, just paint, spray paint everything, blood all over everything.
Yeah.
And the guy was, I'm just destroying it, so go for it.
Man.
And the scene, again, I don't want to spoil it because that actually is not out yet.
Yeah.
But let's just say there was gallons and gallons, wasn't there, babe?
Oh, I'm telling
of
you.
blood, and I just had to let it run down. And now in a lot of these movies, they like the longer hair and things like that.
Yeah.
So I had to make sure my extensions were the old ones because they're ruined. Like once all this fake blood is in there. So that was definitely my bloodiest movie ever.
I would
To
say
this day.
when I was watching that trailer, I was like, "Whoa!"
Lots of blood.
That was like in a minute and a half. It was just like,
just that
man.
little bit. Yeah, the whole thing is tons of blood.
So who come up with the idea for that movie? Who is the writer and stuff on that one?
His name is Bob. I don't want to butcher his name like that.
Yeah.
Butcher his last name. But he had wrote it, and the like production company, they deal a lot. It's something gore. Gosh, I'm so bad with names. And that's what they deal with all the time. Like their whole thing is the more blood, the merrier.
Yeah.
It's like, so that's like what they deal with. Their special effects is just blood, and more blood.
And there's people
So
out
he
there that
handled
are
it.
into this, and there's a big audience for this.
Yeah. That more gory style. I don't know what you call it.
Yeah.
Gore blood.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's some wild stuff there. But I'll tell you, you do look like a badass on those
Thanks.
movies. Boy, when you're coming in there with that gun and stuff like that, and little kung fu, little karate fighting and stuff.
Wait till you see Hellcats 2. It's even more badass. She is like crazy. I think there's a trailer out for that. There should be. Hellcats 2. Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
I still want to see the one Easter Holocaust. That sounds like a real classic.
It's my favorite, funniest scene ever of all time. Up to this point, it's by far. And it was so funny because when he had, the director had emailed me about it, he's like, well, since she's a prostitute, how do you feel about death by dildo? I'm like, well, he's like, yeah, it's gonna like fly through her head. I'm like, okay, that's where it's flying through. We're good.
Right.
Okay, fine.
I I could just imagine these guys sitting around coming up with this idea and writing this movie, and they go, "What could we do?
Yeah,
all right, let's see. We got the demonic Easter bunny with superpowers that's going to go on the Easter Holocaust. Now, what can we do to really put the demonic Easter bunny over the top?
Of course.
And they go, death by dildo.
It doesn't get any better than that.
Now, exactly, what do you exactly mean by death by dildo?
What I was
are we going to just beat her with it?
Yeah, what are we talking about?
My daughter Ellie, well, she died.
This is the one.
Birthing that thing in the forest.
Let's see
Where
this
she
one.
used to dance, the devil's dance.
And his style is more campy, so it does have a different feel than like Hellcats, which is more action packed, and of course the blood and gore. So there's Mia, she's Candy. Oh, that's right. There he is.
The demonic Easter bunny. Oh, he just ripped somebody's heart out. Oh,
I love it. Oh my god.
Oh my. Oh jeez. Now,
Yeah. It ends bad.
Ain't never gonna find you.
Oh. That's Ari Lehman. Remember the first Jason? That was actually my third movie I did with him. No, not directly in this one, but.
You ready to reach your maker?
I love it.
another cleaver. The demonic Easter. Somebody's picking up a machete. They ain't gonna take out the demonic Easter bunny with a machete. I think they need something more than that.
Something more powerful than that.
Right. Oh, that's wild. That is about as crazy as it gets.
I love it.
Boy, you sure got a repertoire going here of some crazy stuff.
Yeah, at least I can't be stereotyped.
Right.
So, because I do action, we do humor, we do gore, we do it all.
Well, you got to be that way, you know?
Yeah.
Oh,
and it's fun.
Those are some crazy movies.
Yeah, and
you
I
know,
love
that
every
takes
one
you
of
back
them.
to the old days of the B movies, the campy B movies of like the 50s and 60s, you know?
Yeah. Well, and the thing with like indie films is there's like it has its whole following.
Uh-huh.
And like they love it. Like there's a whole fan base just for that, you know, for all the indie style films and stuff. So it does well. I love it. I love it. I love every time, no matter what the role is or whichever. They're all my favorites.
You know, see, that's the cool thing about you two. You have always been up for anything fun. You know, no matter what we did, you know, you would always be up to something fun or just go out there and do it and get a kick out of it. Never really took it too serious, you know?
Yeah.
And that's really cool. Now, tell me about the cosplay housewife. Now, what are we getting into with this?
So,
so far, I see there's not a lot of blood and guts in this. This is a little tamer.
This is more, it's more like fantasy, if you will, because everybody fantasizes about Wonder Woman, right? So now you just act like Wonder Woman, and now she's brought to life for that particular fantasy, and there you have it.
Now you got one crazy one on here. We got to dig this one out. It's not Wonder Woman. It's Wonder Bread Woman with her miracle whip.
Yeah. That's a spoof. I was like, let me do something fun because why not? So I actually made that costume. Well, not the bodysuit. I actually bought it, but then I did all that and made it all. And
so it's a combination of, it looks like a Wonder Bread wrapper and Wonder Woman and the Miracle Whip.
Yep. Because fighting crime tastes good. Okay. That's my slogan.
Well, you might have to get Wonder Bread Woman in with the demonic Easter bunny.
Yeah,
you got to start mixing all these things. Yeah, your horror movies with the cosplay thing.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, let's see a couple of other ones up there. I think you got what, Jessica Rabbit.
Yep. That was.
Yeah, let's just go right through all those, Joe. We got Jessica Rabbit there. That looks hot. That's really hot. Yeah, Jessica Rabbit, and then. Okay.
That's actually my little dog.
Oh, Toto too.
Uh-huh.
You're Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. Oh, I'm sure there's some cosplay fantasies going on about How about Gilligan's Island? If you did Ginger or Mary Ann?
Not. Ooh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, you could probably do both.
I Dream of Jeannie.
Oh,
that's a hit. Actually, I met Barbara Eden.
Did you really?
Was it 2 years ago, Jimmy? 2 years ago. She was at the Pittsburgh Comic-Con. 3 years ago. I can't remember. And yeah, so I have a picture right with her.
You would be a good Jeannie.
And oh my God, thanks. And it was so funny because I kid you not, and Jimmy can attest to this. I was standing in the line, and her manager was like, "Hey," and he's like, "Point." I'm like, "Yeah." So I like walk up. He's like, "Oh my God, you look like a younger version of. You look just like her."
Yeah.
I think it's the bangs and the blonde hair.
Yeah,
now my hair's a little bit darker right now than it normally would be, but yeah. So
I think she's like 80 years old now, isn't she?
I think
she's something like 80 years old and still looks good though.
Still looks amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, the I Dream of Jeannie's a favorite.
Oh, okay.
I think a lot of guys
get on the I Dream of Jeannie.
About her back in the day, right?
Oh yeah, you got to do a Gilligan's Island.
I should. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Scooby Doo? Could you do all the Scooby Doo characters?
I did Daphne and Velma so far.
Oh, okay.
Now the Daphne one, I made a lot of it. The Velma, I kind of just put it together. But yeah. And of course, she got caught, and I think in the picture, she's tied to a chair or something, because they always get caught.
Right? Yeah. There's another one you could turn into the horror movies and just blend all these things together. Who are some of the other favorites? Who are some of the other characters that people like?
Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But the Linda Carter version.
Right.
Everybody loves the Linda Carter.
Yeah.
Now I think maybe the younger, like maybe 25 and under, they probably like the modern gal. What's her name?
Yeah,
I can't pronounce her last. I know, and I'm such a Wonder Woman. But I'm the Linda Carter. I love her.
Yeah,
I love that.
That to me is the original. You got to stick with that.
But
about
everybody.
Batgirl,
Catwoman.
I did
Catwoman. Yep, did all those.
Costumes?
Yeah, because I actually have the Heritage version of Batgirl. So that's the original one.
Oh, okay.
Of the purple.
Yeah.
That everybody loved that one too.
Right.
What was that, like 70s? Probably, I think.
Oh, that's
I mean, I wasn't born until 76. Let me clarify.
Right. Okay.
Now everybody's like, wait, 40. Okay.
Yeah, they're figuring it out. They're figuring it out.
Three.
Yeah. But that's some crazy stuff. Now, how do people find all this stuff that you're into and everything? Where could they find you?
Probably the easiest way is on Facebook, because even though I'm not too good at posting a lot of stuff, I kind of forget. I mean, you get busy and you I meant to post that picture, and then I was like, oh, it's 3 weeks later, so now the event's over. It's like, no, I'm not going to post it. But yeah, Facebook, Instagram. I tend to post more of the cosplay stuff on Instagram, only because it's more photos.
Yeah.
And
you know what?
Facebook is more like everybody talking and whatever. So
right. I've been leaning a little bit more towards Instagram too, but because all the negativity that's out there.
Exactly.
And you know what? I think, and I'm hoping that it don't, because I got a lot of followers on Facebook, and I have fun on Facebook because I keep it light and we do stuff like this or whatever, rock and roll, tattoos, titties, titties and beer,
titties and beer.
that kind of stuff, and just funny, humorous stuff. And
there's the I Dream of Jeannie.
Oh, the I Dream of Jeannie really looks good. I knew you'd make a good Jeannie. I didn't even have to see the picture. I figured that would. But it seems like everything on Facebook, it's everybody arguing about everything, and we're going to boycott this, we're going to boycott that. I hate you, you hate me. My side's right,
and you're so afraid to say anything. Like if you say one word, it's like, wait, she said this. Forget it. So I kind of been same as you, steering more towards Instagram. No, I don't have as many followers there because it is a younger. It's like a younger person's thing, and it's taking a little bit. All the old farts
are sitting there bitching about Trump or for Trump against Trump.
So it is harder.
Watching football. I'm not watching football.
I'm not watching football. Blah, 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 blah.
And it's like and I think a lot of people are being turned off by all that negativity. And I thought I saw an article somewhere. Sometimes I think I see articles or I heard it somewhere. Maybe somebody in a bar said it or whatever. You can't take it as fact, But I saw somewhere or heard somewhere that even the people that run Facebook are a little bit. They're not happy with all the negativity because it turns people off. They want it to be a fun place, and I mean, the way things are going now, I would rather go back to the days of, hey, here's what I had for dinner.
Exactly.
Boy, that looks good.
Well, that's why I don't really post much other than, oh, so I ran today, this is what I did, or here's some cosplay photos, or I'm doing the movie, and I kind of stay away. Like, I don't really comment or say stuff because it's just too everybody's negative
it's
and
too
fighting
hostile anymore. And
everybody's mad at everybody. It's like, okay, oh my god,
I would rather see tits. I would rather see you dressed as
Wonder Woman
Dorothy.
or Genie or Dorothy. Then why are we fighting? Why is everybody fighting?
I still want to see the death by dildo.
Exactly.
I would rather
that will cheer everybody up. There's the solution. Everybody go buy that movie and watch the dildo fly through my head. You will instantly, it'll cheer you up. If it doesn't, well, then I don't know.
That's the kind of stuff that I want to see. But no,
exactly.
You know, I mean, even now you can't even watch football because, well, if you like football, now you're for this other side or you're for that side. Why can't I just turn on the TV
and just watch football? Now this team got to keep their team in the locker room because they're so afraid somebody's going to do something. It's like, what are you guys, 2 years old? Like, seriously? So let's just keep you guys in the locker room because we don't know what you're going to do. So let's just keep you there. Like little
but you're a Steelers fan, aren't you? As I remember correctly.
No.
I thought you were.
I transitioned.
Okay.
Now I'm going to have a lot of Steeler hating right now.
Okay. Well.
I transitioned 9 years ago. Right, Jimmy? Because Jimmy said you cannot be a Steelers fan.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Major Browns fan. So I've been supporting the Browns for like 8 years. But I am going to tell you, if they don't shape up, I'm out. This is too much negativity.
What do you think, Jimmy? It was painful on Sunday, wasn't it? It's like, and then of course we got a rookie coach and this. It's like we got to at least score a touchdown. Oh, we'll get it straightened out. Yeah, we've been saying that now. We have not won. We have not won an opening day since 2004.
Oh boy, see, some things never change.
And then you know what? We're really upset me. And then you turn on the TV. Here's Big Ben, hasn't played in a year. And then he picks up a win last night. I mean,
like, it's nothing. Yeah, he's like I do like Baker Mayfield, though. I do like him.
Well, let's hope that these guys get it together.
Hopefully, and Chubb. I just like saying his name, Chubb.
He's a Chubb. It sounds like Chubby.
Chubb. I like Chubb.
That's some funny stuff.
But if they don't start winning, I am jumping ship. It's been like four past years. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give him a chance. Give him a chance.
It is so
I'm gonna
painful.
Be out.
It is so painful. We didn't even score a touchdown.
Nothing.
I mean, how are you going to sit there and you know what I think they're doing? They know with the COVID and everything that if they win the Super Bowl, we're not going to be able to have a parade or anything. So they're waiting. They're waiting until next year so that we could all enjoy the parade.
Exactly.
So we could all be there for the big Super Bowl parade.
That's exactly what they're doing.
That's where they're heading with that. We'll wait until next year, and then everybody could come out and celebrate. Everybody's been waiting for the parade.
So
and if we have to have masks and everything else, then we'll...
They won't see our face, so just wait.
Yeah.
I might jump ship to Brady. I'm telling you right now. I like Brady. And he's 43. Yeah. And he's going strong.
I know. Well, look at you. Look at the shape you're in.
That's why I like him. Because I'm like, wait, he's 43. I'm 43. I might like him now.
You might be in better shape than him. You might actually be in better shape.
It's because he eats avocado ice cream.
Now, you run marathons and stuff and all that stuff?
Yeah.
26 miles?
Yeah, 3 times. 3 crazy ass times.
Damn.
Now, recently, I've only done the half. So it's been about, when was the last time I did a full? 2017, a couple years ago.
Man.
But since I've been doing the halves, they're a lot easier to train for.
Yeah, 13 miles is a lot easier.
13's a lot easier than 26.
If I get 8,000 steps on my Fitbit, I'm like, yeah.
You're like, yes, or. But it's funny though, because I actually quit running last year. We broke up. We just broke up. Me and running broke up. I just was like, I'm not having it. And I think it's because I was always worried about being competitive.
Right.
Because see, I wanted to win my age group in the 5Ks, and I wanted to be competitive. Well, you can't have fun and be competitive, especially not at 42, 43 years old. Okay. It's getting harder and harder. So now I'm like, I got in a little. She said it's getting harder and harder. But so I was like, well, I'm just going to take a break. will never take a break from exercising because you will not go back. I mean, I hate to say it, it's very hard.
You know what?
It's once you fall off the wagon.
I fell off the wagon big time this year, and
back.
with this COVID and everything, and the gym was closed down, and
horrible.
I smashed up my motorcycle. I was kind of banged up for about a month.
Oh my god!
And then and with the corona and everything, and it was just like and I'm struggling to get back into it.
It is. It's very difficult, and it's all mental. Is why it's so bad. It's not even the body saying I don't want to do it. It's our minds.
No, it's my body too.
Is it?
Yeah.
Your body's like, no,
I'm a little older than
not
you.
doing this. This is a bunch of bullshit.
Past 43. No, it's
it's
tough. A little bit everything.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
So I got back in the saddle. So my highest run right now is like 7 miles, and I thought I was gonna die.
Wow.
So I'm like, how do you go from running 26 miles to
and then
7,
having a hard time on
and I'm
7.
like, I'm gonna die out here.
I'm having a hard time with 3 miles and 8,000 steps.
It is tough. And it's funny because looking back, like when your parents would have said, oh, wait till you're like 30 or 40. No, not even 30 is easy. Wait till you're like 40.
Yeah.
I never believed it.
I know.
Like, that's a bunch of shit.
Wait till you get 60.
Till you get 40.
50, 60, 70.
I'm just not going to be able to eat. It's either run or just don't eat. Something's going to give here.
Somewhere down the line. Well, listen, I got another guest coming up. Our buddy Barkley from back in the day at WNIO. Lisa, I want to thank you for stopping by. This has been an absolute blast. And I hope we can get you back.
Yes, of course.
Maybe we could get Joe to hook you up with a podcast of your own.
I think I want a podcast.
Or maybe.
And can I cosplay when I'm on it?
Sure.
Is he shaking his head? He's not joking.
Hey, Joe's a genius with all this stuff. He can come up with anything. But no, awesome time. And I definitely want to have you come back on. And we'll talk whenever your new movie comes out or whatever else you got going on. And it's just been great to see you. Haven't seen you and Jimmy here for a while.
I know.
A good time. I think we just picked up where we left off.
Yep,
and
like no distance from us. It's like we're right like that.
And maybe we can even come up with some kind of crazy segment or have you back on or a woman on the street or something like that.
Woman on the street.
Since you play a prostitute in a lot of these movies.
Comes natural, apparently.
And you got the clothes, so we're good to go. Well, Lisa, I just want to thank you for coming in today.
Nice
Jimmy, always good to see you, my man. We had a lot of fun over the years, and who knows, man? Maybe we'll get back together here and do something. But I definitely want to put you on the list and have you back on, and we'll have some more fun because you're just such an awesome guest. And
you are so awesome.
And the movies are just kick ass. I love it. So
thank you.
So everybody check out Lisa Neeld. Just Google. You know what? You don't even have to get into all that stuff. Google Lisa Neeld. Go to even on YouTube. Google Lisa Neeld, and you'll see all that stuff, and then you can take it from there.
Yep, exactly.
Well, awesome, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Nice to see you.
Jimmy. Thanks for coming out, brother. Good to see you as always, man. And we're gonna get something going here in the future.
Nice to see you.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Bye, everyone.
Hey, how about I stand, everybody, for Lisa Neeld?
See ya.
As sweet as ever. As sweet as ever.
Thank you.
Jimmy's a lucky guy right there, boy. That's why he's got that big smile on his face. Jimmy don't have that big smile on his face for nothing. Well, let me give you a hug here.
Right.
And then we're going to get on to our next guest.
All right, see ya.
Lisa, Jimmy, good to see you, my brother. All right, man. Oh, boy, that was so much fun there. I think that might have been our best show yet right there.
All right, see you,
Thank you. All right, Joe. Hey, we'll get Lisa hooked up with a podcast here.
Hook me up, Joe.
Cosplay, all kinds of stuff.
See you, Fred.
Hey, you can sell all kind of items and things. We'll get it going. Thanks, guys. All right, how about that one, Joe? What do you think, man?
Good stuff, man.
Awesome time with Playboy cover model Lisa Neeld, good friend of mine. And boy, her and her husband, Jimmy, good people. And what a blast. That's some crazy stuff, huh? How about those movies? I'm still talking about Death by Dildo. All right, now we got another guest here today. We're doubling up the guests here today. 2 for Tuesday. So that's why we got to have a second guest. Although, you know, when they say good things come in pairs, when Lisa was here, you saw that those are nice, I got to say. That doctor did a good job on those, man. And you got to be proud of that. Now, our second guest this afternoon is a good old buddy of mine, another good friend of mine. We should probably call this What Are They Up To Tuesday? Because everybody was asking, hey, man, what has Lisa Neeld been up to? And now with me, we got our buddy Barkley. And Barkley was one of our DJs back in WNIO and CD 106. And now he's hanging out in Key West. He's been down there for a long time. Now, Bark, I think you got your work cut out for you because I don't know if you heard Lisa talking about her famous movie scene Death by Dildo, where a demonic Easter bunny smashed her in the head.
I missed that little tidbit, but how are you, my friend?
So do you have a story about Death by Dildo, or have you been injured by a dildo, or have you harmed anybody with one, or?
I think the tip on that one.
Okay, come on now. Hey, you know, we're among friends. You know, you could get in there and get it going. But anyways, Barkley, you joined us back in WNIO back in the day with me, you, Gary Z, Boots Bell. And why don't you reminisce a little bit about those days? We used to have some good times out there on Webb Road.
Oh, man, we had some great times. And first of all, I want to thank you for this opportunity. I'm honored to be on your podcast. And it was just so great to work with all of you. I thought coming out of Columbiana, jumping into country radio, and y'all just took me under your wing, and it couldn't have been any better to work with y'all.
Now, how did we end up hiring you anyways? How did you end up getting into WNIO? Because I can't even remember.
Well, the weird thing is I was doing alternative rock and punk coming out of college, and I don't even remember exactly. I ran into Gary Z and spoke to him, and there was a part-time opening at that point, and it just kind of went from there. So then I went from doing the country to when we put CD 106 on the air. So I was doing country in middays and 7 to midnight on the rock station and having a blast.
Yeah, how could you beat that, man? That was pretty cool. That was really, those were some awesome days too. You know, when I look back on that, you know, one of the things too, like about WNIO, you know, even though we were a bunch of young guys, we were really into the country music. You know, we were into the country music scene. We were into the music. We were into the whole deal. You know, it was the real deal. Even with Boots, you know, you when you think of Boots Bell, you're thinking of, you know, the, you know, WHOT and all that stuff. But when you look at the station, I mean, I thought we were really credible about the country music, and, you know, we were all fans, and we really presented it in a good way.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I totally got into it. And there's of course, that classic picture of you and Z and Boots and the others gang all in your cowboy gear on the horses and that whole 9 yards. Yeah, we had some good times. Grandpa's comes to mind right off the bat.
Oh, Grandpa's was just such a crazy place, man. That place went for a lot of years. There was a time there when Grandpa's was just kicking, and Waco, the band Waco used to play there all the time. And, you know, when I look back at the country scene, you know, it was really hopping back there in the 80s, you know, from like, say, 82 to maybe, you know, 88, you know, when we put the Wolf on. But I mean, there was a lot of great country bars in our area. You know, we had Grandpa's, we had the Country Junction, we had Mr. D's out there in North Lima. We just had so many great country bars and so many great country bands. And we were talking about that last week. I had the guys in from Broken Reigns, and they're, you know, modern country band. And Scott, the singer, or Scott from the band, his dad was Dick Gearhart, or still is Dick Gearhart, and you know, they used to play at all our jamborees and all that kind of stuff. And we were talking, though, about how today, you know, you don't really have all these like country honky tonks around here, but it's like a lot of the bands that are out there, they could play in a bar because they play a mixture of rock and they play a mixture of country. And you know, country is so big right now that it seems like you really don't need like a specific bar to be a country bar or a honky tonk. If you have a country sounding band in there, they have a following, and people will come out and support them.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm still kind of involved in that thing because I'm one of the hosts of the Key West Songwriters Festival when they have it here in Key West. Unfortunately, that got put on the shelf this year with all the COVID nonsense. Oh God, that is so much fun because you're hearing the songs from the songwriters themselves, not necessarily the person that had a hit with it.
Right.
But the people who wrote the songs, doing the songs the way they did them, telling the stories. It's my favorite festival in Key West. Everybody talks about Fantasy Fest and New Year's Eve, and Songwriters Festival was it for me, man. So I'm still got my finger in the country pie, so to speak.
Yeah, I always dig that too. If you go on, like say not Facebook, if you go to YouTube and you find people like J.J. Cale, who wrote a million songs, for just about everybody, for Clapton, for Skinner, Call Me the Breeze, all these great songs. And then you hear these guys talk about the songs, like you say, it gives it a little extra meaning, and you see how their interpretation of that song was. Another guy, I think Townes Van Zandt, I saw a couple of videos of him doing some of the songs that he wrote for other people, or Mac McAnally, who plays with Jimmy Buffett, and you see these guys do the songs in the original version and their way of doing it. I always found that pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, it's always a good time. And one of my favorite people I hang out with during that time is even Stevens, as a matter of fact. He wrote all the Betty Rabbit hits and so many great catchy songs.
Oh, really?
And one of my favorites to work with before she hit big was Casey Musgrave.
Wow.
She is just not only talented, she's good people, as I would say. She was just an absolute joy to work with constantly. I'm happy for all her success. And a lot of these youngins coming up now, we've been lucky enough to have. And like I say, up until it got postponed this year, Key West Songwriters Festival is actually the largest songwriters festival in the world. And it started down here. So it's a great thing to be part of.
Now, how did you end up in Key West? I remember you were working with us at CD 106, and then the next thing you know, you end up in Key West. Now, how did you make this transformation? How did that whole thing go down?
At that time, I was good friends with a guy named Scott, who was the manager at Chester's, for anyone that remembers Chester's, right there on Market Street. And I had never been to Key West, never heard of Key West. And he had been down here once before, got to know some people over at a spot called Geiger Key Marina. And he was coming down on a second trip for 2 weeks. He was like, oh, come on, man, you need a break. I had just gone through some things. He's like, you need a break, come with me. And I had said for a long time, I planned to get out of Ohio someday. Not because I dislike Ohio, I just dislike winter.
Right.
And so anyway, we came down here on vacation, and as soon as I set foot in Key West, it just felt, okay, this is right. So we stayed on these folks' houseboat at Geiger Key Marina, and they managed the marina. While we were there, they offered us jobs, and they offered to sell Scott the houseboat. So we thought about it. I was back in Youngstown for a month and a half, and I've been down here for 30 years now.
Wow, now that is really wild, boy. You went to the right place, man. Key West. Some people would move to, who knows, Tennessee or Myrtle Beach or whatever. But I would say if you're going to move away from Youngstown, you might as well go right to Key West. Now, is Key West, tell me about the party vibe in Key West. What is the party vibe like? Believe it or not, I have never been there. I could probably come down and see you. I have some other people, other friends of mine that stay down there all winter, and they say, got to get your ass down here. What is the Key West vibe like to you? For people who've never been there, explain the whole Key West deal.
Well, we only party on days that end in a Y.
Okay.
Something happened here, Freddie. I'm not hearing you.
Whoop, you there? Okay. I hear you. Come in, bark. Hello.
Did I lose you?
Yeah, you're there.
Wow, somehow, I don't know, I'm not hearing you very well. Anyway, as I said, we only party on days that end in a Y.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I sound like a live movie on my end.
Okay.
It's just constant. It's one of my other favorite places to visit is New Orleans. So if you've ever been in New Orleans, it's very similar vibe. All kinds of great musicians. Now, things have been a little suppressed, well, not a little suppressed, a lot suppressed. Everything was shut down for quite some time. But everything's getting reopened. The bars are reopened. The bars are open till 4 o'clock in the morning down here, by the way. And it's always a good time.
So, like, what are some of the craziest things you've seen just like on the streets down there in Key West?
Well, you can stand here for Fantasy Fest, which is always, well, it's a nice little party they throw for my birthday every year. No, that's just coincidence. It's a huge Halloween party that just is always the 10 days before Halloween. And the craziest things you see are people that ain't running around in nothing but body paint.
And that goes on for 10 days.
Used to be a guy down here that would walk up and down the Vaughn Street with his panther on a leash. You would see a lot of folks who you think might be pretty ladies, but you better look very closely.
And so this goes on for 10 days straight, and it just goes on until 4 o'clock in the morning, like every day.
Yep.
And you just got people like, you know, decked out in all kinds of, any kind of like kinky get up or costume that you could think of.
Yeah, you see some of that throughout the year, but not so much the body paint. That's although there are places down here. One place called the Garden of Eden is on the 3rd floor of one of the bars down here, and it's clothing optional. And they do body painting there, but you're hanging out up there. It's up to you whether you want to wear anything.
Well, I wonder if we got
I wonder if we have our strip clubs, which is my bread and butter. I work at the husband daycare center, as we like to call it.
Now listen to this guy.
Saloon, but it's a lot different than the one at Cedar Point, trust me.
Now listen to this guy, okay? He was living in Ohio. He was working with us. And then he decides to move to Key West. Okay, perfect move to begin with. And on top of that, he becomes the DJ at one of the big strip clubs in Key West. Now, how did you come across that job now?
Well, it all started out, the first place I emceed down here was at Sloppy Joe's. And I spent a number of years there, but I was also doing some radio at that time. And a fellow named Bill Hobie, who is the guy I still play with on the radio down here, was a strip club DJ. And he kind of broke me in, and I'm on my 3rd different club now, but this one's sticking. So I've had worse jobs, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I'll tell you, give me some of your crazy strip club stories here. What are like some of the goofiest stories, some of the craziest strippers you've encountered or whatever?
Well, I don't want to get too carried away.
Oh yeah, go ahead. You could just roll as much as you want, man.
There was one particular evening that comes to mind that a fella got a little too touchy, and one of the girls just took the shoe off and planted it right, her high heel right in the middle of his forehead for him.
You know what? I think that made Florida Man in the news, if I'm not mistaken. I think that made Florida Man in the news. I think I remember hearing about that.
But it's fun, but you know, it's a controlled situation. I'm running 2 stages. I'm watching 16 cameras.
So now? Do you guys ever do like features down there? Do you get, or is it just like, you know, you're
Not so much at our club. There's another club down here that was doing that once in a while, but it's been some time.
Yeah,
We used to have a regular rotation of girls, new girls coming in all the time. We actually have over 100 girls.
100 girls. 100 girls.
Not at any given night, thank goodness.
Man.
We may get 30 or 40 on a good weekend.
Right.
As far as the roster we have. And that's life, baby. You work whenever you want to. They come and go as they please. So we don't know night to night who's coming and who's not.
And, you know, in my experience with working with strippers, sometimes they're not the most reliable. I think that's how they have to work on that. When I show up, I show up. When I get there, because I know we've had a couple of golf outings and other things where we have found out that sometimes strippers aren't the most dependable, especially when you need them at like noon.
Yeah.
If you have a golf outing that's going to start at 11 o'clock, if you have a golf outing that's going to start at 11 o'clock and you need some strippers, you know, it's like, oh yeah, we'll be there. Okay. And then, 1 o'clock rolls around and then they show up and whatever. I remember at one golf outing, we had a lactating stripper. And she was squirting people with milk, but she had to leave because she had to save some to go home and feed her kid.
Oh, geez.
Now that
Can't beat that.
No, it's serious. That did happen, and but yeah, you have. Let's see if we got any Key West body paint videos around here somewhere that we could probably show. Yeah, so that Fantasy Fest though,
There's a lot of Fantasy Fest videos on YouTube.
Oh, there we go. Oh, there was a place there. Oh, there's Fantasy Fest 2018 body painting zombie bike ride. What's that?
Oh yes, the famous body zombie bike ride. That's crazy. They start out on Stock Island and ride to downtown, and there are literally thousands of people on bicycles. It's quite a big event.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. Some of the people are dressed up. Some of them have, costumes on. Some of them don't. Some are just riding bikes. So, boy, that looked like a real hippie guy down there, man. That guy looked like he had a big beard and he had like hair all the way down to his ass. He was riding a bicycle. I bet you got all kinds of people down there at Key West. Just even watching this video here of the Fantasy Fest body painting. Look at that. So, like, what is just some of the weirdness that goes on down there that, like, on a, that you look at, or some crazy stuff that you've seen that you go, man, what the hell's going on down here? I love my Key West.
Oh yeah. There's always something new going on, and it's a small world sometimes too. I just thought about this when I was working at Sloppy Joe's. We had a band from Tampa called Stormbringer that was just a great rock band. And their bass player's name was Eddie Pecchio. And I said, hey, man, I know this is probably a long shot, but you aren't related to Daniel Pecchio, are you? And his jaw just dropped. He said, how do you know Daniel? I said, brother, I'm from Youngstown. Everybody knows Michael Stanley Band's crying out loud.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we're looking at some body painting here right now. There's the woman's dressed up like Carmen Miranda. Now, this one has like one of those Mexican death masks. I don't want to see that. I want to see these. I want to see these painted breasts like Carmen Miranda. Now, there's a guy that has.
Yeah, most of them are just painted breasts, but on occasion you will see a few ladies that just go all out, and it ain't nothing but paint, which isn't really legal, but they do it.
Here's a guy that had his skull. He had a bald head, and he had his head body painted like a brain.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You see all kinds of crazy stuff. There's some some top artists down here. My friend Joe Carter does it right in front of our bar. And, well, our complex, we actually have 8 different bars in our complex. But he also does the body painting for Ozfest and Lollapalooza and all that sort of stuff. He's top notch.
Boy, that's a nice gig, huh? Live in Key West during the winter and then go out on tour with like Lollapalooza and Ozfest and all that stuff and do body painting, paint titties. How could you beat that job?
Well, he is an artist aside from that, but he does some amazing body painting.
Oh, yeah, I've seen some guys. I know a couple of guys, even around here, that are awesome artists, but when they get doing the body painting, they go crazy. They just know what to do. I saw one. I'm trying to think of what it looked like. It was like somehow there was an old drunken sailor on the woman's chest, and somehow their boobs, the artist made her boobs look like a pair of binoculars, and the drunken sailor was saying something about, oh, let's look for some titties or something like that.
Yeah, and there's one woman who I've seen her down here several years, an older lady, and she has large busts, but they're quite saggy. And she has them painted up to look like puppy dogs.
Oh, you know what? I've seen a picture of that. I think that I've seen that picture floating around the. I've seen that picture floating around. That's been on the internet here and there.
I have too.
I saw that one. And there's this one woman that goes to Daytona Bike Week all the time, and she's like just some old woman, and she has like some kind of a larger than a C-section scar that goes probably from her belly button up to the bottom of her saggy boobs, and on her belly she has Boner Garage painted and an arrow pointing down. There's one you can look up. There's one you can look up on YouTube or Google or something. Just Google Boner Garage and you'll see this one. And she always gets into the wet t-shirt contest at Bike Week, and she always wins because everybody thinks it's such a joke. And then I feel bad for some of the legitimate women that are in there, and they're up there shaking and everything. You're going, boy, that looks good, yay! And then all of a sudden, Boner Garage comes up, and they just everybody just goes crazy for Boner Garage, and then she wins, and it's to me it's kind of like a fix. You know what? Why don't you search Boner Garage, Joe, and just see images for Boner? I don't know what's going to pop up if you search Boner Garage, but yeah. Image. Oh, okay, there she is, right there. As a matter of fact, no, the one with the blue top. As a matter of fact, I think I might have took that picture. I actually might have took that picture right there. There's Boner Garage right there. There she is. Big belly sticking out, big saggy boobs, and she just got Boner Garage painted on her belly with an arrow pointing down. But you know what? You got to give people credit for wanting to have fun. You know what? If that's your thing or whatever, I don't mean to judge anybody. But as you can see, she's really famous down there. You see a lot of people have pictures of her from Daytona Bike Week. So that might be a...
Come to Key West and we'll hang out, literally sometimes.
Now, I'm sure you guys have some people down there like that, too, that are just like, locals that hang out, but that are characters or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of characters here in Key West. Captain Tony, rest in peace, was always one of our favorites. He was our pirate mayor for a while down here.
Uh-huh.
He was quite the character. There's any number of them. Every night down at what is called Mallory Square, right on the ocean, they have a sunset celebration. And you'll see all kinds of characters, performers, all different acts down there. It's quite an interesting way to spend an evening, too.
I guess if you're going to be...
Key West is where the weird go pro, man.
That's the major leagues right there, huh? Well, I guess if you're going to be weird, why do you just want to be weird in Youngstown? Why do you want to be weird in Ohio? If I'm going to be weird, man, let's get down to Key West, man. You know?
Yeah, that's kind of what happened. I came down here and fell in love with Key West.
Now you said you worked over at Sloppy Joe's too. Now that's a cool place. Tell us a little bit about the history of Sloppy Joe's and some of the stuff that goes on there, because I know for a while they used to have the Put-in Bay. All the performers from Put-in Bay would go down there for a weekend, and Pat Daly and Mike Mad Dog Adams and all those guys would play down at Sloppy Joe's. So run down the history and some of the crazy stuff that goes on at Sloppy Joe's, or has gone on at Sloppy Joe's.
Well, Put-in Bay days actually still goes on. I think they had to put it off this year. Unfortunately, Pat doesn't come down anymore. He is retired from coming down here. He used to be down here every spring break. And I have spent a lot of time with Pat Daly and his Tony Bacho, who's his sound guy, and I have a lot of good times with them down here. Through Pat, I got to know Shel Silverstein, who was one of our Key West locals, and what a great guy. I met Shel one time at one of Pat's shows at Sloppy Joe's, and just such a nice guy. Anytime I saw him after that, you know, it's, hey man, how you doing? And he usually spot me before I'd spot him. And just what a great artist he was, writing songs in his books and so on.
Oh yeah, he's definitely one of my favorites, man. So you got to hang out with Shel Silverstein. Now, I don't think it gets much cooler than that. That's really awesome. I'm kind of jealous, man, because I've always been a fan of his and his music, and I did know that him and Pat from way back were good buddies, and they wrote some songs together. They did that children's album, I think, and you know, Shel is just an amazing boy. When you think of all the hits that guy wrote, you know, Boy Named Sue, and all the great songs for Bobby Bear, like The Winner and Tequila Sheila, Cover the Rolling Stone, everything for, you know, Dr. Hook. I mean, the guy is amazing, and he's just one of those guys that is just out there. And like when we were talking about the songwriter showcase, when you see this guy, he's out there writing all these hits, and he's behind the scenes, and he kind of likes it that way.
Oh yeah. There was no what do I want to say? He was just an average Joe, to see him around town and hang out and so on. He was everybody's friend. He didn't have the ego that some folks would get in his position. He was just genuinely a nice guy.
I heard one time they kicked him out of a bar down there. They thought he was a homeless guy. They didn't even know that somebody didn't realize it was him, and they gave him the boot.
Oh, wow. Well, and actually, another one of my old friends down here who has also passed away, but while I was hanging out with Shel Silverstein, do you happen to remember Sir Oliver Humperdinck?
Yeah, yes.
The pro wrestling manager?
Right, yeah.
Well, he and I got to be good friends down here, too. I used to hang out with Humperdinck all the time. So the same night I was hanging out with Shel Silverstein at Sloppy Joe's, I was hanging out with Sir Oliver Humperdinck, listening to Pat Daly.
It doesn't get much better than that. It does not get much better than that. I'm jealous, man. I am definitely jealous. I think that would be just awesome. Now, a lot of wrestlers hang out in Key West, don't they? A lot of wrestlers, pro wrestlers, hang out in Key West.
Oh yeah. And I've gotten to hang out with a bunch of them too. One of my good friends down here, former roommate, is Mickey J. Henson, who was a referee for both WCW and WWE. And a lot of the boys come down here to visit. So we've had some good times with them. That's always for Hogan's down here all the time.
Yeah.
And, one night I used to bartend at a little dive bar down here, and if you look up dive bar in the dictionary, there might be a picture of a place called the Purple Porpoise Pub. So I'm bartending bartending one night, and this bar is right on US 1, but it's just it comes down a pretty good slope from the highway. So all of a sudden, I look up for bartending, and I see somebody in an SUV coming down through the grass down into the bar parking lot, not coming down the driveway. He drove right off the highway, down the hill, and into the parking lot. And I thought, oh boy, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
And this big guy wanders in all dressed in camo and a camo hat and all. And he sits down at the bar and he says, "Hey, you know Mickey J?" I said, "Well, I might. Who's asking you?" He took his hat off and said, "I'm Barry Windham."
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you, I figured a lot of those wrestlers would party in Key West because so many of them live in Florida, especially in the Tampa area. You're always running into somebody in the Tampa area. And I'm sure Hogan had a big house down there, and he used to have a couple of bars, and Jimmy Hart would be one of the managers at the bar and do a karaoke night and stuff like that. So we are talking with our buddy Barkley James here this afternoon, and he worked with us back in the day at WNIO and CD 106, and he decided to leave Youngstown, go to Key West, been there for 30 years. He's on the radio down there, and plus he's a full-time DJ at a strip bar and hanging out with people like Shel Silverstein back in the day. I don't know how you could beat that. I don't know if we want to hear any more stories about that. How about some of the stories of Youngstown? What are some of your most memorable stories about Youngstown? What are the places you like, some of the clubs you used to like here, and that sort of thing?
Well, I always had a good time. Friday nights, I used to see at JB's all the time. So we had a lot of fun there. Lots of memories and somewhat memories of hanging out with Noisy Mama, of course.
Yeah, now that's a big story there. When we were hanging out with Noisy Mama, and especially you, give the whole story about how Noisy Mama, formerly White Noise, ended up getting signed at our second anniversary party with Donnie Iris. That's one of my favorite stories, and it happened almost like at your house.
I think he just dropped off.
Well, okay, we'll see if we get Bart back on here. Anyways, wouldn't you like that? Is that guy living the life?
I'm telling you.
Strip club DJ and
in
the whole
Florida
9 yards.
and Key West.
In Key West. Everybody, I can't believe I've never been to Key West, and I have so many friends. Well, like first of all, like Barkley there, and I got some other good friends. And I always say, "Come on down." It's either I don't have the money or I don't know. But I think this year maybe I'll head down to Key West and we'll do the show from Key West. Can we hook this stuff up to do that down there?
Heck yeah.
I think we might have to. We can even take the bus, huh, man? We can take your big RV, man. We'll
that's why I got it. Really, secretly, that's why I got it.
and we'll come down there and we'll just rock the house. Have you ever been to Key West?
I've not.
I guess it's just insane down there.
Yeah.
And I have a friend that even says, if you come down here, I have a motorcycle for you.
Cruising around Key West on a motorcycle.
And I'm just like kicking myself in the ass. I don't know. It looks like we might have lost Barkley here.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get it connected back in here in a minute.
All right, we'll see what happens. But yeah, he's a good guy. We had a lot of fun back in the day. But the story, well, I don't know. If we get him back, I could tell the story about, the Youngstown band White Noise, and they became Noisy Mama, and they signed a big record deal. And as a matter of fact, I'm working on getting Paul Scourin, the singer from that band, to stop by.
All right, looks like he called back in. This might ring in your ear for a second,
okay.
So I apologize ahead of time. Let's see if I can mute that out just for a second.
All right. All right, let's see what's going on here with Barkley.
Yeah, you can keep going. I'm going to just try to get this going.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm still depressed about the Browns, though. Well,
yeah.
Am I really depressed? No, I take that back. I'm not really depressed about the Browns. It's just another year. How could we come out and lose again and look so bad? And some people are like, well, give it a chance. It'll get better.
No.
I think you got to start and at least score a couple of touchdowns in the first game. How do you expect it to get better if you don't even score a touchdown against, the against Baltimore. You got to play them again. You got to play the Steelers twice. And then the Steelers had a win last night. It's just, it's depressing. It's depressing being a Browns fan. But I'm sticking with them. And I don't even know if you should talk about football anymore, because how did even now football and pro sports is divisive. You talk about that,
make some enemies.
It's amazing on how this whole world, to me, has gotten to this point that it's in. I mean, it's so much gloom and doom. It's so much negativity. It's so much division. It's like, come on, people, we got to lighten up, man. We got to laugh a little bit. We got to have some fun. And that's why I was a little disappointed when they brought all this politics into sports, because especially now, you just want to sit there and watch the game and just go along with your life and get a break from all this stuff. So it's tough. Anymore, if you like a certain musician, people are going to not like you because they don't like him. And I don't know. It's insane. Better days got to be coming.
Yeah, I hear
And with this COVID, is it going to get better? I don't see anything changing by the end of the year. I don't see any sign out there that says, okay, by December, things are going to change, or they're not even talking anymore. Remember, they were at least talking about flattening the curve. You don't even hear anybody talking about like flattening the curve anymore.
That's right.
That's just out the window. So where's this going to end? I would at least I would feel a little bit better if at least there was some kind of, okay, here's how it's going to end, people, or the end is in sight,
right?
And show me some concrete proof that, okay, the end is in sight. I don't know. I'm leaning too far and getting political here, and I don't even want to go down that road, because that's not what this podcast is about.
All right, do we have you back?
Okay, Bart, are you back?
Sorry about that, man. Ain't technology grand.
All right, we hear you loud and clear. All right, so we were talking about, you were good friends with Paul Scourin and all the guys from White Noise and Noisy Mama. And then when they signed their record deal, that happened pretty much at your house after our second anniversary party with Donnie Iris. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember some of that. Yeah, we did the show that night, and then that was when I lived in the duplex on Market Street. And I knew about half the people that were there that night, I think. But that was crazy times.
I think half the people from the show just came to your place afterwards.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. It was a lot of fun from what I remember. Now, I actually got to surprise them one time, too, because after they signed the record deal, then I had moved down here, and they did a show at the Button South in Fort Lauderdale. And I got wind of it and went up there and met a buddy and just showed up at the show and had a good time once again, reminiscing and all. Didn't get to spend a lot of time, but it was good to see him.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about the band. And for people that weren't really familiar with White Noise, Noisy Mama, tell us a little bit about your thoughts on the band.
Oh, they were an excellent band. I still play some of their tunes at the club, as a matter of fact, for certain girls. And to me, they're one of those bands that got caught in the cracks, because they deserved the break, and then when they finally got it, the record company basically went bankrupt or folded, however you want to put it, and they just kind of dropped out. But, they were a great live band. Aside from that Noisy Mama, Everybody's Got One, as an excellent CD, but what an excellent live band, and just always a good time to do shows with them, and I got to do a lot of shows with them. I was lucky.
I think Studio West usually comes to mind when I really think of like White Noise, and Studio West seems to really click in my mind. And then of course, were they still playing JBs and stuff at the time?
Yeah, JB's was where we were at the night they found out they got signed, and then we all ended up back at my place.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that was some pretty wild stuff. Hey, I'm going to get Paul Scourin on too here. I got him on the list of guests that I want to get on and just talk to him and reminisce about the good old days. And so, what were some of your other favorite places that you used to like to hang out at? JB's was always big. What were some of your other hangs when you were back here in Youngstown?
Well, of course, JB's was right next to the Park Inn.
Right.
Which is where I nearly got into the scuffle with Boom Boom one night, if you remember that story.
Oh, yeah. What happened with that? I vaguely remember that. What happened with this one?
It was Mexican night at the Park Inn. So, of course, the place was packed, and I'd had too many strawberry margaritas and too many shots of tequila. And I was there with a couple of my buddies, and all of a sudden, this little fella and his entourage come pushing their way through the crowd, and I got a little uppity because I had tended to do that when I had too many shots of tequila. It's like, who does this little guy think he is? And I'm getting all angry, and my buddies grabbed me and dragged me out of there. I said, do you realize who the hell that was? That was Boom Boom. I was like, oh, thank God. This was right after the Dooku Kim incident.
Oh, man.
So I was very thankful they dragged me out of there, of course. But then, as it turned out, just a few days later, we were scheduled to work a charity event together. I was there for the radio station, and I knew Ray was going to be there.
Yeah.
And I was admittedly a bit nervous about how this encounter might go. And I was coming from one end of the hallway, and I looked up, and Ray's coming from the other end of the hallway, and I just stopped. I said, hey, man, I'm really sorry about the other night. I was way too drunk. And he laughed and said, yeah, I kind of was too. And we got along fine after that.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I nearly got my ass knocked out by Boom Boom thanks to Jose Cuervo.
That explains it all, though. You know, that at least you had an excuse. You know, you can blame it on somebody. You can blame it on Jose. That's like that song. I think it's Eric Church. It's called "Jack Daniels Kicked My Ass Again Last Night." I like that song. I think they wrote it about me. You know, but you know, Jose and Jack are a lot alike, man. They sneak up, they get you from behind, they hit you when you ain't looking. They're like practically cousins.
Yeah, I have that problem with Fireball and Jägermeister nowadays.
Oh, Jaeger. Now, Jaeger that's the stuff that always gets you in trouble. I think if I ever get in trouble, it would be drinking Jaeger. There's just something about Jaeger. I think, there was one comedian out there. Oh, I think it was Dave Attell, and he had a bit about Jaeger. See if we can find that one. Dave Attell talking about Jägermeister, because Jaeger does get you in trouble. There's just something about that stuff that gets you in trouble. And I would like to go down as the guy Dave Attell. Yeah, Dave Attell and Jaeger. I would like to be the guy that invented the Jaeger bomb. I would like to be known as that guy. Oh, here you go. There it is right there. Here, check this one out. If Jägermeister...
Jägermeister is for children. It is. It's too sweet. I'm serious. I give it out on Halloween. That's what I do. Here's a shot. Go home, find your dad's gun. Be somebody, all right? Jaeger is fun, yet disappointing. It's kind of like running downstairs on Christmas morning and realizing you're Jewish. It kind of sucks. Where is everybody? Oh, I remember. Now, there's no commercials for Jägermeister. There's none. I've never seen one. Have you? No, I have. Right? There should be some, right? So you know what you're getting into. But there aren't any. But I thought of some. Do you guys want to hear it? Do you? Do you, don't you? You do? Okay. Commercials for Jägermeister. A guy comes out of a hedge. He's covered in mud and blood. He's holding one high heel shoe. Did I just eat a stripper? Jaeger. There you go. To the point. Direct. How about another one? Can you do another one? I think you can. A little girl is sitting on the swing. Not swinging. A tear rolls down her cheek. Where's Daddy? Jaeger. There you go.
Dave Attell. I want to be credited as the guy that invented the Jaeger bomb. I mean, because you stop and think about it. Why would somebody invent the Jaeger bomb? You get an energy drink and you mix it with Jaeger so that the biggest, drunkest asshole stays up longer than anybody else. Brilliant.
Well, yes. Yeah, they don't call me the Jaeger monster for no reason, but I'm totally against the bombs, man. I can't do the Red Bull.
Yeah, you don't want to taint your Jägermeister. Why would I taint something that's already so perfect? Why would I mess with that German goodness, that licorice flavored 32 spice German goodness? Why would I even mess with that?
Right. But when you mention Jack Daniels, that makes me think of Charlie Daniels.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that? You remember that party bus to Tangier?
That was that was like one of our very first party buses, and that was probably one of the craziest party buses that we ever been on. I knew we were in trouble when we had like 2 bottles of Jack Daniels down before we got to Lake Milton. From Austin Town to Lake Milton, there was 2 bottles of Jaeger, or 2 bottles of Jack gone. So we get there, and this was like one of the very first shows that we've ever really did with people, and we weren't really sure about the protocol. In my mind, I always thought that, okay, we go to the show, we promoted the show, we played a whole bunch of music by this guy, so we probably go to the show and we just go find Charlie somewhere and say, hey, Charlie, man, we're from WNIO, and we played all your songs, we promoted the hell out of this concert for you. Good to meet you. Well, it doesn't quite work that way. You know, you got to go through agents and managers and get passes and this and that. So I remember me and Gary Z are on this quest to go find Charlie Daniels after riding on this party bus and staying for the whole show all the way up to Akron. So the next thing you know, we jumped over a barrier and we end up backstage, and we're looking for Charlie. And like Charlie's road manager or something was really like pissed at us. And he was like, Charlie don't talk to drunks. So we leave there and we're kind of pissed off. And we had this bus, this black guy, Robinson from Camel, had his little bus line. And it wasn't the newest bus, and it was kind of beat up. And so now we're all pissed. We're all on the bus and we're pissed at Charlie. So I get on the speaker on the bus, you know, the walkie-talkie or whatever, the CB. And I'm just on there going, you know, the hell with Charlie Daniels and all this stuff. And all of a sudden his road crew's getting pissed. Next thing you know, you see everybody on the bus flips him the bird. Everybody out of the bus just flips him the bird. So the next thing you know, they come running after us. So the bus is getting ready to pull away. And it was this old beat up bus, this old beat up coach. Robinson, my man Robinson, puts the pedal to the metal, and we rolled coal. The biggest cloud of black smoke just engulfed everybody. And we were back there on fancy tour buses and semis and everything. And we just pulled out of there. Everybody flipping the middle finger. Am I right on that?
Well, oddly enough, that all kind of came full circle for me a few years back. Just a few years ago, through my relationship with the Marshall Tucker Band, which is a whole nother story, I was a guest at the Marshall Tucker Band up at Miccosukee with Charlie Daniels, the Outlaws, and Travis Tritt. And in this case, I did have full access, and I did hang out with Charlie.
And he's a very nice guy. I interviewed him a couple years ago.
Oh, absolutely.
And you know what? He was the nicest guy and a really nice gentleman, and just, you know, didn't really care how long we talked. And we had a real nice interview and everything. And I was like, I didn't even mention it, but I was like, yeah, that was a good one. That was one of our first party buses. Then we learned the ropes or whatever. And I can remember somebody from Charlie's office called because we said, we'll never play a Charlie Daniels record record again. And on Monday morning, somebody called up the radio station. Hey, we're from Charlie Daniels. You're not going to play Charlie's music anymore. Send the records back. You know, I was just like, yeah, you know, screw you. You know, but yeah, that was a classic. Like I say, I knew we were in trouble. We left, I think, from the Country Junction, which was at 46 and I-80, and we left from there. And I was like, when there was 2 bottles of Jack gone to Lake Milton. And it was like, uh-oh. That was one of the very first party buses we did, I think. I know we did one to Crystal Gale. And then afterwards, I know we did one to Alabama and Conway Twitty at the Coliseum, the old Richfield Coliseum, and places like that.
I remember one with Alabama and Eddie Raven too.
Yeah, where was that one at?
That I don't
that might have been at the Coliseum too. I'm sure that was at the Coliseum too, because at that point in time, Alabama was so huge. What a great band, man! And that was one of the cool things that we did. We were like one of the very first radio stations that played Alabama. And remember, they played at the Trumbull County Fair. That was one of those things like when bands used to play the Tomorrow Club, and then like 3 months later, they were the biggest thing. When Alabama played the Trumbull County Fair, it was like probably 6 months after that they just went right through the roof, and they were the biggest band around for so many years.
Yep, that's true.
You know, they're still one of my favorite country bands. Alabama, boy, they just, it's hard to believe that they have already came and went, you know, they've had a whole career. You know, they come out in like 1980, 83, 84. And when you stop and you look back at the time and you're going, wow, yeah, them guys have been around for like 30 years. They've been around for almost 40 years. Oh, okay. And I'm still doing the same thing. I guess that's what kind of flips me out a little bit. Well, hey, listen, Bark, it's almost time for us to wrap things up here. And we got to get Morris Ray to get in here and get ready to rock the house. So we're going to make some room for him. And I'm just glad talking to you. And hopefully once this COVID thing is all done and everything, I'll get a chance to come down and we'll hang out in Key West. And maybe I'll do some kind of body painting or something.
That would be awesome, brother. I'd love to have you down here. And I thought I was going to be home in this month, matter of fact, but that kind of got sidetracked. So hopefully I'll be back next year and I'll see you. All
right, sounds good. Thanks for talking with us, brother, and I'll be in touch, man.
All right, sounds good. Love it. Thanks, Freddie.
All right, man, you got it. Take care, Bark. All right, man, some stories of the old days, country western music and Key West and some things like that from Barkley James. And also I want to thank Playboy centerfold Lisa Neeld for stopping by and hanging out with us. Boy, I'll tell you what, she's still smoking hot, isn't she?
Yep.
Make sure you check out Lisa's movies. Just search her name, Lisa Neeld, Neeld, on YouTube, and you'll find some of her crazy videos. How about those movies she's in, though? Aren't they wild?
The Easter Bunny was my favorite.
The demonic Easter Bunny. The Easter Holocaust with the demonic Easter Bunny. I mean, that is some of the craziest stuff that you'll ever find. So let's see. We got a show on Thursday. We had to change our guest on Thursday, so we're going to do a little bit of, I think we're going to go out this week and do some Man on the Street by popular demand.
Yes.
Everybody's demanding that we get out and do the Man on the Street, so I think we'll do that coming up this week on Thursday. And then looking into next week and a few weeks down the road, Pat Palumbo from Left End is going to be stopping by.
Sweet.
And Pat is working on a book about the history of Left End that's going to be out on Thanksgiving. And I think that's going to be a huge book for people in Youngstown. And we're going to have him stop by and talk a little bit. Not give away a lot of the stuff in the book, though. We don't want to give away any of the stuff from the book, but I think we have enough stuff to talk about. Let's see, who else I got lined up? Bertram D'Souza, former political writer for the Youngstown Vindicator. He has a book out, too, of all his columns over the years. And as you know, Bertram pissed a lot of people off, quite frankly. And he was like one of these watchdogs, and he would call out people like Trafficant and other big politicians politicians and that sort of thing. And he's got a book out with all his columns, and I think that would be pretty interesting. And he's been at the Vindicator for what, 40 years? So you would think that his columns would almost be like a history of Youngstown. So that should be pretty exciting, because I want to know who maybe some of the people that gave him a hard time were. Was he ever threatened and things like that? Because there was a lot of people that did not like Bertram D'Souza. They were pissed at that guy, but because he was there to call people out. And I think in this age when, you know, we don't have a newspaper, I'd like to see his take on that, because, you know, like it, hate it, or whatever, you know, the Vindicator did do a good job at keeping people in check and keeping an eye on some of these crooks and everything that we have had over the years and calling them out. And now that you don't have a local newspaper, people don't realize that void. That is really a big void. And we're going to talk to Bertram, and we got a lot of great guests coming up. So I see Morris Ray's ready to go. We'll let him rock the house. We'll get out of his way right on time, 5 o'clock, right on the money. So we'll turn things over to Morris, and I will catch you Thursday, 3 o'clock, right here in the Youngstown studio. Peace out.